We're getting pretty big picture, I know, but this is just so important. The Trump DeSantis war is going to be the defining thing of the 2024 Republican primary, but ultimately, regardless of what happens, eventually Donald Trump he's a mortal man. He will die or retire from politics in some regard. Do you think that when that day does finally come, that the GOP is at this point more poised to ascend as a Trumpist party or revert back to the, fiscally conservative, socially liberal, with the Tea Party being the vanguard of anything that, in of conservative America First values?
Yeah, and go the way of the Tories into blithering irrelevance, right? Yeah. Well, that may happen for a season, no question. They're not called the stupid party for no reason. In the interim, but no, the demographics are moving in a thoroughly rural, nationalist, populist, retraditionalist direction. I mean, populations in rural counties have always had more children than cosmopolitan liberal populations, but that gap has grown astronomically just over the last decade as the urban metro areas just embrace liberal lifestyle values all the more and see their numbers decrease all the more. I mean, back in before we talked, I looked up here back in 2007. The discrepancy between birth rates among rural populations and cosmopolitan populations were 5%. Good, discrepant, but not huge. That was back in 2007. Today, it's near 15%. It's surged 300% in a decade. So scholars recognize that rising birth rates among more rural religious folk and declining birth rates among secular, cosmopolitan folk are already remaking and recalibrating the nation into a far more conservative religious landscape. These are the dynamics that gave us Trump in the first place. It is time, gang, to celebrate the great return by clicking on the link below and getting your very own Trumpinator 2024 bobblehead in preparation for Donald Trump's glorious reascendance to the United States presidency. I mean, look at this, gang. I've got mine, and I absolutely love it. This collectible bobblehead from Proud Patriots is made with the highest quality material and really is a must-have for any Trump fan who wants to send some energy towards what is shaping up to be the most glorious political comeback in history. Now, don't wait. There's just a limited number of these collectibles, and you don't want to be caught paying way more later on eBay when someone else bought it now, sells it. So whatever you do, don't wait. Click on that link below right now and show your support for Trump 2024 today. I don't know if Trump could have run success. I mean, Pat Buchanan tried back in 96 and in 92, 96, and 2000. The demographics weren't there yet. We were still a thoroughly cosmopolitan Republican Party. We are now a rural Republican Party, and we're seeing the shift in the Electoral College much, much more towards those rural areas, especially with deurbanization. So many people leaving the cities. Baltimore is now under 600,000 for the first time in a century. LA, San Francisco are losing more than are going out. Same with Chicago, New York. So no, we're just, again, that doesn't mean the idiots that run the Republican Party aren't going to make bad choices, but it does mean that those choices, I think, have a terminus point, just given the dynamics that are happening that eventually will actually come to redefine, I think, both parties.
I think we may have to bear a presidential cycle where there's no one that good. But broadly speaking, I think the real fight, and you and me have talked about this before, Steve, is the real fight is actually going to be, I think, within Trumpism itself, between what you just talked about, these rural people like in Shasta County and these people that they've demographically risen up and now are completely actually taking institutional control of these places for the first time in a long time. Those people versus your Stefaniks, you're more perhaps these New England populists that, I'm gonna be honest, they're just not very conservative, but they are perhaps anti-woke in some regard, and they have a lot of influence with Trump too. So I think a big fight is actually going to be between those two camps of the Trump wing.
I think we're seeing it a bit with the DeSantis Trump rivalry, which right now doesn't even look very fair. I mean, Trump is just, I believe he's at double-digit lead in every single state, more or less, at this point for primary. So
And let's not forget Ted Cruz won Iowa, so that's not even really that's the victor of Iowa has proven to it's not an indicator what it used to be even.
that's
So
right. And Iowa will have to repent of that, along with their vote for Dukakis.
yeah. Well, they love Trump now. Iowa is like
Oh yeah,
the white
it's thoroughly
the
Trump
white
land.
majority of
Yeah,
Iowa have become like
yeah.
it's one of the biggest shifts of like a demographic
It
towards
is that in West Virginia. Yeah, I mean, Joe Manchin is a Jurassic hangover. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
once he's gone, I don't think you ever see a Democrat in West Virginia again.